important for the future and the democracy of the USA?
Probably. You mean to speak for an hour? Come on. Come on. We all know that, one candidate did this and that and the other. None of it very good as far as being a criminal and that sort of thing. But we all know what he does. And so I try to figure out, exactly why do people vote for him? What do they exactly think he's going to do for them? They must think he's a strong guy, or this is the biggest whiner that ever walked the face of the earth. I mean, he's like the poorest example of a fifth-grade bully I've ever seen.
What's up, everybody? Major Retired Richard Ojeda here, and Gregg Popovich knows exactly what he's talking about, and he isn't pulling punches. When he calls Trump pathetic and a damaged man, he's saying it as someone who has built a legacy of integrity and greatness that Trump could never understand.
Would you want your kids to act like he does? Would you want your kids to make the excuses he does? Everybody's come after me, everybody this, that, and the other. I'm doing this for you, poor me, whine, whine, whine. You wonder, all the people who support him, would they want him to teach their kids? So I got to tell my grandchildren that, I guess, if they want to be like Trump, I got to say, hey, no, today, you're going to win, because there's no way you can lose. And if you do lose, it was rigged against you. So don't buy it. Don't buy it. You got to figure out who to blame. He's pathetic. He's small. He's a whiner. We all know that. But you wouldn't have him babysit your kids. You wouldn't hire him if you had a small business. You want that man in your business? There's no way. But you're going to vote for him for president because he's strong?
This isn't just a Hall of Fame coach venting. This is the NBA's most winningest coach. A man who's led champions and future Hall of Famers. Someone who's created a dynasty built on respect, humility, and a relentless commitment to something bigger than himself. Popovich knows what it takes to lead, and he's slamming Donald Trump because Trump represents everything that Gregg Popovich stands against.
Kamala Harris whipped his ass in the debate, just obviously, and he's running ever since. He doesn't want any part of her because, as she said before, she's eaten many of his type for lunch. As an attorney general, as a prosecutor, he's a small fry compared to some of the people she's gone after. And he knows it.
Think about it. Popovich has coached players like Tim Duncan, one of the most humble athletes to ever play the game. Duncan could have demanded the spotlight under Popovich, but he learned that greatness doesn't come from ego. It comes from putting the team first, from humility and dedication. So when he calls Trump a fifth-grade bully, he's saying it with the authority of someone who knows true greatness and knows Trump doesn't have an ounce of it. Trump, meanwhile, is the complete opposite of everything Popovich has built. Popovich has always preached accountability, teamwork, and grace in both victory and defeat. Trump, he's the biggest whiner who ever walked the earth.
They assume that if you stand on manhood, that you're against women. That is a lie. It's one of the great lies in politics. There's no such thing as toxic masculinity. It's about manhood. And so they recognize that Donald Trump is an alpha male. He absolutely is, no doubt about it. People like that, they follow it. They need leadership. And I will tell you this, who do you want at the table with Xi Jinping? Kamala Harris or Donald Trump?
Tim Walz uses his masculinity for good, and Donald Trump exploits it for his own gain. And can we talk about masculinity, right? Like, Trump is putting on a performance of masculinity because he's not actually masculine. I mean, this is a guy who spends more time with his makeup artist than with his own advisors. But even setting aside that he probably wears more makeup than Kamala Harris, masculine men aren't afraid of women. They're not afraid to debate women. Masculine men don't have meltdowns on stage because a woman that they didn't like asked them a question that they didn't like. This sort of, masculinity Eras tour that he's on, where he's talking about a dead golfer's manhood, where he's blowing kisses to Hulk Hogan. To your point, this is a performance because actually Trump is not a very masculine man, according to his own definition of it.
As Popovich puts it, this is a guy who lost an election and still can't accept it, who plays the victim every chance he gets, who acts like the rules don't apply to him. Popovich is looking at Trump and asking, would anyone want their kids to act like this man? Popovich sees a spoiled, self-centered bully who's incapable of losing with any grace, let alone winning with humility. He's calling Trump out because he knows real champions don't behave like this. They don't lie, throw tantrums, or tear people down to lift themselves up. And it's not just Trump's behavior that disgusts Popovich. It's the way Trump's trying to dismantle everything Americans rely on to live with dignity. Popovich sees right through Trump's promises and lies, especially with the Project 2025 nonsense that Trump's pushing. Project 2025 is the ultimate betrayal of regular Americans. They call it freedom, but it's nothing more than a plan to strip away health care, Social Security, overtime pay, and so the wealthy elite can get a little richer at the expense of everyone else. Imagine a future where overtime pay is gone, where health care is a luxury and Social Security is gutted. That's what Project 2025 promises. This isn't patriotism, it's greed on a massive scale. Popovich, who's built a system of winning that uplifts players from every background, looks at Project 2025 and sees a blueprint for tearing down lies, gutting protections, and empowering a wealthy few while leaving everyone else behind. Popovich knows what it means to have a real team, to build something that benefits everyone. Trump and his cronies, they're out for themselves, plain and simple. They want to roll back environmental protections to the Stone Age, gut overtime pay, eliminate health care protections, and even fire thousands of police officers to save money. Imagine that, calling a progress while ripping out every safety net regular Americans rely on. Popovich is right to be furious because Project 2025 would dismantle the very systems that protect us, all while claiming to make America better. It's the same hypocrisy Trump's always been about, selling freedom while taking away every protection working people depend on. Popovich's legacy isn't just in the championships that he's won. It's in the culture he's created. He's the guy who hired Becky Hammon, the NBA's first female assistant coach, breaking barriers and opening doors in a way Trump wouldn't understand. Popovich built a team where respect, humility, and hard work are everything. And he's done it by leading players from all around the world. He's coached players who've come to the NBA with nothing but their talent and drive. And he's shown them that greatness isn't just about winning. It's about lifting others up and being a part of something bigger than yourself. Popovich is looking at Trump and Project 2025 and seeing a nightmare. A world where the wealthy get richer by stomping on everyone else. A world where health care, Social Security, environmental protections, all of it is sacrificed in the name of profit. Popovich knows real leadership, and he's calling out Trump because Trump's version of leadership is nothing but hollow, selfish greed. Think about it. Popovich's players respect him because he demands accountability, something Donald Trump's never shown a single day in his life. While Trump cries, "Poor me," every time he faces criticism, Popovich teaches his players that strength is about owning your mistakes, not blaming others. Trump's behavior is the opposite of everything Popovich stands for. And he's warning us, this isn't about politics, it's about the soul of the country. We're talking about a man who's okay with tearing down health care, with gutting Social Security, with ripping away overtime pay, and firing police to save a buck. And somehow he wants us to believe that it's about freedom. Popovich knows better. He sees the hypocrisy, the lies, the utter lack of integrity, and he's calling it what it is, a con job on the American people. Gregg Popovich has built champions. He's led players who could have easily put themselves first, but chose to be part of his system. He's shown that true greatness comes from lifting each other up, not tearing others down. He's dedicated his life to building something real, something that helps people grow and thrive. Trump, he's dedicated to the opposite, tearing down every institution, every protection, every value that doesn't serve his interests. Popovich isn't just slamming Trump for the sake of it. He's warning us that if we let people like Trump and ideas like Project 2025 take hold, we're looking at a future where regular Americans are left to fend for themselves while the wealthy laugh all the way to the bank. So when Popovich speaks, he's speaking from experience. He knows what leadership looks like, and he knows that Donald Trump is no leader. Trump is a disaster waiting to happen, a man who would rather break America apart than see it thrive. Popovich is telling us that we need leaders who build, leaders who create, leaders who make this country better for everyone, not bullies who stomp on others to feel big. Gregg Popovich has spent his life making champions, and he's telling us loud and clear, if we want a better future, we can't let the grifters and bullies win, and that is an absolute fact. Sappers clear the way, airborne all the way.